The IDF now says it has wiped out Hamas in Rafah, the crucial southernmost city in the Gaza Strip that borders Egypt. Our very own Richard Engel embedded with the IDF to get a first-hand look at what's left and just filed this report.
This is Rafah in the Gaza Strip, or I should say what is left of Rafah. You can hear Israeli military drones still above, and if you come around this corner here, you can see or get an idea of the extent of the damage. We have been in Rafah for the last several hours on an Israeli military tour, and the foreign journalists are not allowed into Rafah, so the only way we were able to come in here, they're not allowed in Gaza in general, so the only way we were able to get in here is with the Israeli army. And pretty much everywhere we have gone looks like this, just utter devastation. This entire area, all of Gaza, it seems, is going to need to be rebuilt. People simply cannot live here. The Israeli military brought us here to show victory, to show that they have been able to drive out Hamas, to break the back of the Hamas military infrastructure in Rafah, at least. And this is something of a victory tour, but this is the cost of victory, an area that is completely broken, effectively uninhabitable, and which will need to be built again from scratch if that ever happens. And this specific place where we are right now has a particularly dark history. This is the place where Israeli troops found the bodies of 6 hostages, including the American Hersh Goldberg Pollen, and he was in a tunnel under the ground here, and all of them had been executed about 24 hours before Israeli troops arrived. They were searching this area, they were looking for Hamas, and then suddenly a bulldozer almost collapsed into the tunnel. There was a concrete cap on top of it, and when they broke through, they saw a long shaft, and then they started searching the shaft. First they saw bodies. They didn't know who the bodies were. They saw initially then there was a woman. That was unusual, a sign that perhaps these were hostages, and then they actually took them out and discovered the hostages' bodies. It seems that the hostages had been in this area for some time, at least weeks. An Israeli military commander here told me, based on the amount of, let's just say, remains and urine and feces and other things that they discovered in the area. So the hostages were kept at the bottom of a tunnel amid all of this destruction for weeks at least. Very little food. They couldn't stand up. Incredibly humid, and the bodies they found were incredibly skinny. So they were kept in abysmal conditions. This war is just absolutely brutal. It's brutal for the hostages. It's brutal for the people who are going to have to try and rebuild their lives after this. It's been brutal for the Israeli army fighting in these conditions. It is among the most savage conflicts, ongoing conflicts that I've ever seen.
Richard Engel in Rafah for us.